Alrighty guys, good morning everybody. Hope everyone is having a fantastic morning. I know it's pretty early. We're getting a pretty early update out there for you guys. It's a pretty hefty update, not gonna lie. Things have definitely changed a little bit. The storm's going a little bit more further west than previously expected. Overall, we got ourselves a decent amount of stuff we do need to be addressing here. But what's up everybody? Hope everyone's doing good. Good morning. Let's go ahead and see who we got here. We have, let's see, Taco. We have Trudy. We have Tabletop. We have Christy. Let's see here. We got Braven. We have Zen. We have Rich. What's up, guys? Hope everyone's doing good. Obviously, the people who's not chatting as well and just hanging out. Hope you guys are doing good. Christy says I can't see the screen. It looks like it's doing pretty good for my end. Yeah. Try restarting your app. That might help. Anyways, guys, good morning. So we got ourselves a bit of an update here for you guys. We're gonna go ahead and bring this over to the cone here. So yeah, the thing has actually shifted a bit west. Now that's not necessarily good. The problem with this thing shifting west is the fact that it's going to be over water for a longer period of time, which is going to allow for the storm to possibly be even stronger than previously expected. Now, as of now, it seems like the Big Bend of Florida, that's where landfall is going to be. The whole cone of uncertainty goes throughout the entire Big Bend of Florida, and we're just on the brink of hurricane activity by the time we get there. So just before landfall, this is, probably a good 50 miles off the coast, just before landfall for the early morning of Monday, we're going to be sustained around 70 miles an hour, with gusts up to 85. Now, obviously, if you know... to be classified as a hurricane, it must have winds sustained of 75 or greater, in which, like I said, we're at 70. So we're getting close. We're getting real close to hurricane development. Even the Hurricane Center put out hurricane watches in effect. That's what these little areas here are. Let's go ahead and get rid of the cone for a minute. But yeah, we do have ourselves hurricane watches in effect throughout portions here of the Big Bend. I'm going to go ahead and turn on these location markers so we can kind of, go over those areas. So hurricane warnings in effect for the coast out there near Perry, including Horseshoe Beach. I remember that area specifically from, what was it? It wasn't Ian. Was it Ida? I think it was. Forgot which one hit the... My memory's shot. It was... yeah, Horseshoe Beach, I remember. Cedar Key as well. So you guys are under hurricane watches where hurricane conditions are possible. Like I said, because of its recent movement and, its longer exposure to those warm waters, that's going to allow the storm to possibly be even stronger. And, we will likely get into hurricane status, right around Category 1, upon landfall here. At least as of right now, that's what the way things are looking. So, anyway, so yeah, that's kind of where we're standing. And of course, this thing's going to continue going northeast, out there remaining a tropical storm before possibly going back out into the waters here in off the eastern coast, off the southeastern coast of the United States and the western Atlantic. Which, the waters here is actually pretty warm as well. Let me go ahead and bring that up for you guys. So yeah, the waters is not just warm, obviously, in the Gulf, but it's also really warm out here as well. We're going to go ahead and bring up that view for you guys here now. I mean, almost just as warm as the Gulf, which is definitely a little bit concerning, per se. I mean, you can actually see here. So obviously the storm, right now, it's over Cuba. Storm's location's like right in here, roughly. So, obviously, this thing's going to be going its way here to the north and then turning to the west. And then kind of possibly do something like this. Now, my pen kind of blends in there. But, yeah, you can imagine. I mean, look at the waters there. Out there, 30 degrees Celsius. That is, like, really, really warm water. For tropical development to occur, you must have sea surface temperatures of at least of at least 26 degrees Celsius or larger. And obviously, we're well into the 29, 30 degrees Celsius range. So sea surface temperatures will not be an issue for this storm as it tracks in. Now, obviously, there's more to it. Like wind shear and moisture supply to play a role. It doesn't seem like that's going to be an issue, unfortunately. We have fairly weak steering currents, so that's going to allow the storm to be pretty slow. And it's just going to be sitting there in warm water and just picking up some strength potentially just off the coast of the Carolinas. It's certainly a possibility. But yeah, we'll get more into that here when we look at the main cone again. Let's see. What's up, DJW? Good morning to you. Hope you're doing good. What's up, Lori? Hope you're doing all right. Saying we're under a hurricane watch, Dixie County. Idalia is the last hurricane. Oh, that's right. It was Idalia. That's right. Okay. Yeah. So no, that makes sense. That makes sense. Sorry, my brain's just shot this morning. But anyways, yeah. Let's see here. Good morning, Tabletop. So yeah, I mentioned this to you earlier in the chat. So like I said, when it comes to the Carolinas, there's one of two scenarios that could occur. The worst case scenario is the storm going back into the Atlantic, kind of stalling, picking up some heat, and then of course making possible landfall somewhere near the Carolina coast. That's a possibility. But what's also possible is that the storm could just remain near the coast. It could just be digging inland, in really not picking up any strength because it's going to be over land. So that's two scenarios. Obviously, we still need to work that out with the models and all that stuff because they're still kind of all over the place here overall. But yeah, let's go and bring up our cone again here for you guys. Yeah, you can see how the cone really widens towards the end of the forecast here. I mean, like I said, half the cone's over water, half the cone's over land. So, the center of the storm could go as far left as, some of these areas here. Or it could go as far right as some of these areas here. It's still unknown. But, once again, like I was mentioning, though, half the cone's over water, half the cone is over land. In which the center of the storm, that's kind of what we're tracking here. If the center of the storm kind of goes out this way, like I said, there's very, very warm water out here. The steering currents are fairly weak. Some models really pick up on the storm stalling over some of these areas, which could lead to catastrophic flooding. That is a possibility. So that's what I'm really concerned about for your area. Now, like I said, still a little too early to tell if it's going to go over water or if it's going to hit land. As of now, it's still up for grabs, but yeah, we'll keep you guys in the loop here. Now, obviously, the main concern right now is Florida. Obviously, we have ourselves. Actually, they upgraded the watches to warnings here along the western coast, out there by like Tampa and everything like that. We got tropical storm warnings in effect for Tampa, including Cape Coral. This also includes areas near Naples, Marco Island. Believe it or not, the Keys still have a tropical storm watch. The storm is expected to develop into a tropical storm once it kind of passes the Keys. That's why there's still watches. Yeah, this thing's forecasted to become a tropical storm here, possibly sometime this evening. Overall, that's what it looks like. So later on this evening for our evening update tonight. Don't be surprised if this thing is literally a tropical storm in the next update. It's very, very possible. Honestly, I might even do a midday update as well. I think we might be scheduling 3 updates for you guys today. one this morning, one later this afternoon, and maybe one this evening. So, we'll be on it for you guys. But yeah, like I said, the latest code has this thing making landfall out there in the Big Bend of Florida. That seems like a pretty good possibility. Out there all the way from Apalachicola, all the way out here towards Homosassa Springs. Hopefully I'm saying that right. So yeah, pretty wide margin where the core of the storm could make landfall. It's still just still a little bit of uncertainty, of course, with that, but we'll keep you posted. All right, let's go ahead and hop over here to the main screen. We're going to talk about surges. Surges is a little bit of an issue here. They actually upped the probability, upped the overall surge in general. So we are now expecting basically the Big Bend of Florida to receive about 3 to 5 foot of storm surge out there from Aquila River down there towards Indian Pass. About 1 to 3 foot out there near Apalachicola is possible. And of course, Tampa Bay, right around 2 to 4 foot of storm surge is expected. Charlotte Harbor, 2 to 4 foot of storm surge expected. And then down there towards the Everglades in extreme southwestern Florida, could pick up maybe right around 1 to 3 foot of storm surge out there. So obviously the main thing is going to be 3 to 5 foot out there towards the Big Bend. That's where the landfall point is expected. So just a bit of a heads up for you. Rainfall totals have changed drastically. Now, obviously, the whole Panhandle is likely, the whole peninsula is likely still going to see some heavy rain. I mean, regardless of where this thing ends up, it's still going to be an issue. A lot of the main area here in Florida is going to see at least 2 to 4 inches of rainfall. It includes Orlando, Miami. A pretty solid amount of rain is expected in the dark green. Jacksonville areas, we could pick up maybe 4 to 6 inches. Tampa Bay, ranging between 4 to 6 or 6 to 8, so a pretty good amount of rain out there towards the coast possible. Tallahassee, 2 to 4. Jacksonville, I think I already mentioned Jacksonville, but yeah, 4 to 6. Then we move into the Carolina coast. Now, this is where I'm a little bit concerned here, is out there by coastal Georgia, coastal South Carolina, and the southern coast of North Carolina. There could be some areas where we could be picking up, 8 to 12 inches of rainfall. Up to a foot of rain is possible. See, I was there when you covered Adalia. Yeah, I remember that one for sure. Absolutely. But yeah, so, when it comes to it, the Carolina coast could have a major problem down in time with rainfall. That does seem to be a possibility. And as we're going to look in the models here in a little bit, you're going to actually see how some of the models have this thing just kind of stalling, possibly over some of the areas just off the coast of the Carolinas. It seems like it's a growing possibility. Which that would be very problematic. Like I said, if you have a storm that sits there, it's just going to dump rain after rain after rain. And that's going to be a really big problem. What's up, T2014, saying good morning from Nova Scotia, Canada. We'll be watching you to see how this tracks up the East Coast, and we'll be keeping Florida in my thoughts. Glad to have you here, my friend. Hope you're doing good. Yeah, so we'll look at the models here in a minute, and we'll go over that. One last thing I do want to go for you guys, though, is show you guys the cone from the Hurricane Center. This is the latest. So obviously, like I mentioned, we do have hurricane watches now in effect for the Big Bend of Florida. Landfall is going to be sometime late Sunday, early Monday. Overall out there, tropical storm warnings extending mostly down the whole entire west coast of Florida. And of course, we have tropical storm watches still in effect for the Keys. I believe out there by the Dry Tortugas as well. Actually, I think there's a tropical storm warning. My bad. The Dry Tortugas has a tropical storm warning. Meanwhile, the Keys have, literally tropical storm watches out there. So the yellow is tropical storm watches, the blue is tropical storm warnings, and the pink here, that is hurricane watches that's in effect there. But yeah, and like I said, once again, the cone gets pretty big. There's a possibility the storm could go over water, pick up some heat, possibly become a big problem out here, and of course, there's also a possibility it could just go inland and just do nothing really. Will still cause a bit of rain, but obviously it would be a better scenario if it did that overall. What time's the Hurricane Center updates? Every 3 hours they update. Last update here was 5 a.m., so we're probably not going to get our update until, 9 o'clock or so, roughly? Let's see here. Looks like the upper mid-Atlantic is going to get involved in this system. When it comes to it, it's hard to tell right now because, like I said, it becomes a very uncertain once we get to this point in time. Let's go and hop the models. I really want to show you guys what's going on here in the models. It's certainly interesting overall. Let's go ahead and zoom out here so you guys can see that a little better. but yeah, no, it's certainly a little bit interesting. So we're going to start off with the American GFS model. We're going to go ahead and work our way down in time here. So we work our way down in time. Obviously, the latest GFS actually has this thing. Let's just actually go ahead and focus on this here. So GFS 4. That's not really working. Okay, let's just hop back here. GFS. Okay. So we'll just have to do like a southeast view. Yeah, so there you go. So when it comes to it, obviously the latest GFS has this thing making landfall in the Big Bend of Florida, low 990 millibar range, which would likely be a tropical storm, according to GFS. Crosses into Georgia, and at this point we're right around the 6th. The time's in the top right, you guys can see. So once again, we're expecting landfall to occur up here. Right here for basically late Sunday into early Monday. And of course, like I said, this thing will track throughout like southern Georgia, go towards the coast here, before potentially stalling and picking up a lot of heat. Wow, that has it hitting like Hilton Head Island, right, like dead on. The latest GFS there. Yeah, I used to go vacationing there all the time down in South. Beautiful place. Hilton Head Island. Highly recommend checking it out. But, yeah, it looks like they might take a big hit from the storm here. So that's a possibility. And honestly, what I'm a little concerned about is, you know, not only does the GFS show this, if we hop to the latest Euro, the latest ECMWF, the European model, Euro shows a very similar outcome. Now, obviously not as strong of a low, approaching the Big Bend here, but could become a really big issue. And kind of doing the same thing, you can kind of see just stalling before hitting South Carolina. That seems like the models are in agreement with that possibility. So, you know, the models, they both agree on the system kind of doing something like this. Maybe curving inland like that. It's a possibility overall. Let's see here. All right, sounds good, Christy. Have a great day at work, my friend. Thanks for joining. But yeah, that seems like a possibility. And, you know, both the main models, you know, GFS Euro is like the main models. And they're both in agreement here. So that's certainly a little bit concerning there. So we'll have to keep an eye on that and, you know, continue monitoring further model data and stuff like that. But that seems like a good possibility. Here's CMC model. I haven't looked at this one this morning. CMC model off to a pretty similar start, although a little bit more west according to this model. And yeah, so this is another scenario I was telling you guys about, you know, possibly showing this storm not going back in water, but just kind of remaining over the southeast, which this would be the best scenario. This would actually allow the storm to weaken, not really have any potential of strengthening more. It would still be a bit of an issue for rainfall, of course, but wouldn't be as much of a problem overall. So this would be the best case scenario regarding, you know, an event like this. This would probably be like the best case scenario overall. So that's still on the table. Obviously, it's still not 100% for sure that it's going to go out to back in the water, but it seems like it's a growing agreement that it is going to go back in the water. So that's something we need to keep an eye out there for. One last model here before we hop into the main hurricane models. This is Icon. Icon shows very similar to what the GFS and the Euro is showing a landfall out there towards the Big Bend of Florida. Then, of course, going right there, riding the coast. Oh, wow, dude. That is a very aggressive model. Yeah, Icon gets really aggressive once the thing goes back over water here. You can see as it approaches like coastal Georgia near Savannah, and out there by like Hilton Head Island, South Carolina, the thing really just rides up against the coast and just strengthens to oblivion. That is crazy. And I hate to say that is actually a possibility. I hate to say that is a very good possibility. You know, like I said, that's still up for grabs. That's still a possibility. I mean, like I said, the main GFS model in the Euro, they both talked about the system here, you know, kind of just, the GFS in the Euro kind of shows it hitting the Big Bend of Florida and going out and then possibly turning back to the South Carolina coast. You know, that seems like a possibility, but we'll definitely keep an eye on it. Let's see here. Weather tracker. There is no way of telling if this thing's going to even go near Europe. Not to mention, it would become post-tropical because the waters out there is not supported for tropical activity. So yeah, no. What's up, Jake? Hope you're doing good, man. Glad to have you here. But anyways, let's go and hop over to the main hurricane models. We're going to hop over to HWRF here. This is one of the main models. Now, I will tell you this, a little bit of a disclaimer. This model kind of takes things a little aggressive, but, sometimes it plays out pretty accurate. This is a brand new run, so we're going to hop back to the previous one. So previous HWRF from late yesterday, early this morning, shows it making landfall in the Big Bend of Florida, rapidly weakening as it goes over the southeastern coast, and then just kind of sitting there near the coast, but still inland to the point where it really doesn't pick up hardly any strength. So that is a possibility as well, obviously. But yeah, according to the HWRF model, this thing does make landfall out there towards, it makes landfall out there towards the Big Bend of Florida. That's, at this point in time for the new update for you guys, that seems most probable. That the Big Bend of Florida is going to take the big landfall here. And like I said, regarding strength, it really does seem like we're going to be talking, right around like upper tropical storm force, lower category 1 probably. It seems like hurricane conditions are becoming more and more likely. Hurricane Center, like I said, put out hurricane watches, as well as we're just 5 mile an hour short in the forecast of this thing being a hurricane. So it's pretty close. Let's see. Stu says that could hit New York maybe. Way too early to tell. Like I said, what it's going to do after the point it gets near the Carolinas is very unknown. Not to mention, like I said, what it's going to even do when it appears or when it gets closer to the Carolinas is going to be unknown as well. Like we mentioned here, we'll hop on back for a minute and we'll get back into models. But like I mentioned, the cone is so large out there by the Carolinas, and really puts a lot of uncertainty on the table. Like I mentioned, the storm could go back out to sea and could really pick up a lot of heat, bring in some big problems for the Carolina coasts, or it could kind of remain inland near the coasts, and it could just fizzle out and just not really be anything as impactful. So that would be the best case scenario, obviously, this one here. And yet alone, what happens after this point, way too unknown and way too early to tell. So yeah, don't mention New York right now. There's, like I said, obviously the steering currents more than likely will take this thing away from the area. So yeah, no reason to be worried out there, of course. But anyways, let's see. I'm gonna call this Florence 2.0. I wouldn't do that table. So Florence, if I remember correctly, did something like this rather than going this way. I wouldn't call it Florence 2.0. Once again, we still don't know what it's gonna do when it gets there. Although I will say that we will likely see a lot of heavy rain regardless out there in the Carolinas, Georgia. I think that's a really good possibility overall. Good morning, Jack. Hope you're doing good, man. But anyways, let's go and hop over to some more hurricane models. We're gonna get back on into it. But yeah, so I just wanted to go ahead and mention that with you guys. We have the HMON. This is another model here. Let's go ahead and rewind back here. So according to the HMON, this is a brand new run. This one has it, yeah, kind of on spot with HWRF here. Making landfall out there. Is that near like Horseshoe Beach? I think it was. Yeah, Horseshoe Beach, near landfall out there towards Cedar Key, and Horseshoe Beach area seems to be the most probable areas of landfall. But yeah, HMON shows it making landfall as lower 980 millibar range, which that would put it near Cat 1, based off of pressure alone. And of course, this thing would go inland, weaken a bit. And then that's where the model ends. So, this model kind of has its remaining over the southeastern coast throughout Monday. So, yeah, that's still what we need to figure out. Obviously, we're not really too sure what's going to happen once it gets to the Carolinas, but it could be a big problem. It could be a really huge problem for you guys. So I want you guys in the Carolina coast as well as Georgia coast to prepare for it. I want you guys to go ahead and start preparing for it. Make sure you have enough food and water just to make sure that you guys are ready for it, because, like I said, it could be very problematic for you guys. But, as of right now, there's still a lot of uncertainty in the forecast. But, obviously, the earlier you guys can prepare for it, the better. I mean, it could work out to be nothing really at all, or it could work out to be something really bad. And like I said, it seems like the models are trending the storm going back out into the water, picking up strength and stalling. That seems to be the latest, greatest probability. So that's what I'm mostly concerned about. We have HAFSA. This is another model here, another main hurricane model. HAFSA has this thing, a little bit weaker, also a little bit more west here, making landfall out there towards like St. Mark's area. just a little bit east of Apalachicola. And then that's kind of where the model, has the thing continue to pick up and, just go to the northeast and then obviously weaken because it's going over land here. But, whenever it comes to it here, that's where the model ends, and we don't really know much more about that. There is another parent model. This is HAFSB. Very similar, showing pretty much the same thing here. Relatively the same model for the most part overall. And that's it. That's the main model. So that's the latest. Now let's go ahead and hop over here to the spaghetti model plot. We're gonna take a look at that here. So the latest spaghettis this morning, once again, has this thing making landfall over the Big Bend of Florida. That's pretty much, a given. There's a really big shift last night to the west here. The reason is because the storm's actually going, going more further west than we anticipated to begin with. The storm is not really behaving too well. But yeah, so you can see out there towards the Big Bend of Florida, that's where all the spaghetti models are in sync. Still is a little bit of disagreement regarding exactly where the thing's going to make landfall, but it looks like the Big Bend of Florida is where the point of landfall is going to be. So that's the latest information with all that. We got some more data, more ensemble data, kind of showing the same thing out there by the Panhandle, Eastern Panhandle, Big Bend of Florida, landfall here overall. Here's another set of ensembles kind of showing the exact same thing. So, that's kind of what we're sitting here with. Obviously you can kind of see how the ensembles show it kind of maybe going back off the coast and then turning back in. Who knows? Like I said, who knows? That's still up for grabs. Now, one last thing here. This is the intensity guidance here from the hurricane models. And so you can obviously see from now on, we're going to see this thing be picking up some strength, going into tropical storm status tonight. And then, of course, continuing to pick up some strength. Oh, sorry. My mouse got caught. But yeah, so let's go and redo that there. Yeah, so we pick up strength throughout tonight, come tropical storm status tonight. Then it continues to pick up strength until the point of landfall, where it could either be an upper tropical storm or a lower Cat 1 before weakening as it goes over land. And there's some talk of it maybe sustaining, if not strengthening a little bit, by the time we get out there towards the Carolinas. That seems to be like a good possibility overall. So that is, that's that. That's the latest hurricane models regarding everything. And you can actually see here, since yesterday, since yesterday's runs, you can see that, a lot of them were positioned over like Tampa, right? Versus now, if we take a look at the latest one, they're a lot further west now. So that's quite a big change in the track here within the last 24 hours. Actually, the last 12 hours, really. Pretty crazy. Am I worried about this? For me, personally, I mean, you may or may not know I'm in Florida. No, I'm not worried about it. I'm far enough inland. I am concerned for the people on the coast by the Big Bend of Florida, also for the people along the coast of the Carolinas, because I think there could be really some very nasty impacts regarding rainfall and all that. Once again, 3 to 5 foot of storm surge expected out there in the Big Bend of Florida upon landfall here. My main concern, becomes quite big for the areas out there by Georgia's coast and the Carolina coast, as we could see feet of rain in some spots possibly, because the storm looks like it potentially could stall out there just off the coast, which unfortunately, like I mentioned here, taking a look at the sea surface temperatures and all that stuff, we have to have at least 26 degrees Celsius waters to sustain or develop tropical activity, and of course we're in 30 plus range, 29, 30 plus, so yeah, without a doubt, the waters are definitely warm enough to allow for the storm to pick up. And like I said, due to the storm stalling, there is no wind shear. So basically, winds that's not a part of the storm. It's literally calm around the storm itself. So that's going to allow the storm to kind of sit there and kind of pick up some strength, pick up all that heat off the water. Obviously, becoming a really big issue. That's why I'm hoping that this thing kind of remains inland. Like I said, this would be the best case scenario. This would be the worst case scenario. And like I said, models seem to be showing the thing stalling out by the Carolinas, which that kind of worries me. So yeah, that's got me worried. Not gonna lie. Anyways, I have a friend out in Goose Creek, South Carolina. Yeah, so just, it would be very good if you guys can just prepare for it. Make sure you have some water and some food available. I mean, you're going to use it anyways. If it becomes a storm where it's not a big problem, you'll still use it. So if you can, the earlier the better. It would definitely be really good to just at least prepare for the storm. Just make sure that you got your essential items. Make sure you have obviously a like I said, make sure you have some water, make sure you have some non-perishable foods, first aid kit, important documents, all kinds of that stuff. Flashlight, extra batteries, possibly weather radio, all that in your safe spot. So put that there just to get ready. Let's see here. Andrew, is can give report from what? Is can get I can give report from Wilmington when you go live for landfall during when it hits the Carolinas, if you'd like. Sure. Yeah, of course. If y'all want to share your all's story with the storm, feel free to reach out to us on Twitter. It's in the bottom right of the screen. You guys can see that's our Twitter. But anyways, yeah. So that's that, y'all. That's kind of where the system stands. So once again, pretty big issue overall. And like I said, it's not just going to be a Florida concern, but it's a growing concern for the Carolinas as well, and Georgia, of course. Daniel says, I'm in coastal Georgia, just south of Savannah. I'm kind of worried about flooding here. Yeah, so Daniel, there is a really good shot we could get a lot of rain out here. Let me go ahead and bring that up for you. The latest Hurricane Center guidance here, part of the Weather Prediction Center collab here. We actually have ourselves a pretty good amount of rain out there expected. You can actually see along your coast here, out there by Savannah, and you said you're slightly south, so you're probably somewhere around here. 8 to 12 inches of rain is expected, so that's a lot of rain. And really that kicks up all the way from basically Georgia's coast all the way up towards like southern North Carolina's coast. Basically from not quite Jacksonville, about halfway from central coastal Georgia all the way up towards like Wilmington. About 8 to 12 inches of rain is possible, so we're seeing up to a foot. Now off the coast there, we're seeing 12 to 16 inches. Obviously, that's going to be in the water. That's not going to really matter too much. But, like I said, that's that. Let's see here. How long will I go live for? What, for coverage? It depends. It obviously depends. But I do plan on doing coverage. I'm going to be busy the next couple days. Now, I hate to do this to you guys. There's another storm we're watching. I know it's a new development here. I've been kind of watching it the last couple days. I hate to mention this to you since we have this guy going on, but if we look to the east, if my system or if my program will work, we got this guy out here. You can actually see it starting to pick up a little bit of a slight spin to it. This is a tropical wave that I'm also watching here, and of course it could go over the I almost called the Antilles the Yucatan. Ignore that. But yeah, it has this thing going out there by the Antilles, tracking in the Caribbean, and where it goes from there, who knows. Obviously, main concern is this guy right here. This is future Debbie, and then like I said, this guy here could be another issue down in time. So we'll have to see. Let's see here. Tabletop says, thankful for your coverage, Andrew. Local news really dropped the ball. Yeah, no problem, man. I'm glad to help out. Like I said, obviously it's getting real here in the tropics. We're just getting to the ladder, unfortunately. We're just starting to climb the ladder. The most active period is September. We still got all of August to go through. So we'll have to see what happens. I do want to bring you guys to Hurricane Center. I saw some text earlier that they were thinking about adding a graphic on this system. It doesn't look like they did. Let's go and bring this over here. So obviously we have Depression 4. This is future Debbie. I heard somewhere that they're going to add a area for the storm. Huh. Interesting. Let's see. Tropical Depression 4. Yeah, so that's future Debbie here. Yeah, once again, here's surges, guys, for the people just joining us. Surge expectancy. We're talking a good amount of surges out there. We are seeing about 3 to 5 foot out there by the Big Bend. Tampa Bay 2 to 4 foot down there towards obviously the Everglades. Right around 1 to 3 foot of storm surge. So if you don't know what surge is, it's basically due to the storm. The storm's winds pushing a lot of water inland, so it's causing swelling along the coast. which is basically pushing water inland. And it could be about 3 to 5 foot above sea level, where typically the water would be, so 3 to 5 foot above across these areas here. Hopefully that makes sense. I figure most people, if you live on the coast, you probably know what storm surge is, but just in case you don't. Let's see, watch it take an identical track. You know, I don't think it is. See, this system that we're watching now, this guy kind of went like this. And it's forecasted to do something maybe like this. Who knows? Who knows? Like I said, that's kind of what we're trying to figure out here. But yeah, this one here, models, we'll get the models here in a second. This one has it going like this. You know, kind of just continuing to the west-northwest. We'll see. Yeah, let's hop the models here. We're gonna take a look at that real quickly. Let's bring up, yeah, we'll bring it over here for you guys. But yeah, it's certainly interesting. It certainly is interesting. Let's go and bring up our yeah, we'll do Western Atlantic here so we can kind of see. Anyway, so yeah, let me zoom out. You guys can see the time in the top right there, by the way. So we work our way down in time. Obviously, we have, you know, Debbie, future Debbie, making landfall. And then, according to GFS here, you can kind of see that system maybe doing something. Obviously, we don't know this far out. This is like 200 hours out. But it has that tropical wave picking up heat once it pulls into the Caribbean. Let me take a look at moisture. I think that might be an issue to start with the storm here. Well, maybe not. Yeah, never mind. No, it looks like GFS has it in a pretty good abundance of moisture. I wonder why it's not really taken off sooner. Let me try. Maybe wind shear? Yes, it looks like wind shear could be an issue. Yeah, you can see right here, there's a big jet of winds. While the storm's over here, there's a big jet of winds kind of pushing at it. That would kind of prevent the storm from really picking off out here. But it looks like further down in line, the wind shear weakens, and that's when it could pick up. Now, obviously, like I said, we don't know if this thing is going to go into the Gulf or what it's going to do quite yet. I mean, that's still too early to tell. Let me try Euro. I wonder what Euro has to say about it. Kind of curious, actually. 0 Zulu Euro. Obviously, we have Debbie making landfall towards the Big Bend of Florida. Yeah, Euro doesn't really pick up on it too much. Euro's not really showing a whole lot with that second system. But it seems like, yeah, GFS, as of right now, kind of picks up on it. CMC model... Yeah, CMC model doesn't pick up on it. Let me try ensembles. Let's see here. Okay, let me just pull this up here. Yeah, it seems like ensembles, they were really picking up on it yesterday when I showed you, or when I was looking at it myself. Yeah, you can see it right there. Y'all see that? Let me position this a little better for you guys. Let's get that ad out of the way. Nobody likes ads. Oh, nope. All right, we'll leave it there. Yeah, so there's Debbie, and of course this one here, or I should say future Debbie. And then that's that other disturbance we're watching. Let's go ahead and loop this here. We're going to look at the... So this is kind of like spaghetti models, although it's just one model run. You can see that disturbance goes into the Caribbean. Oh, that's interesting. Some models have it going up. And then some models have it just going in the Gulf here. That's an interesting view. Let's try some GEFS ensembles here. Let's see what this one has to show us. It's good to get some more opinions on the storm here. Yeah, so obviously there's a lot of diversity there. You know, not really too sure what's going to happen once we get to this point in time, but it does look like we could have a disturbance coming out there towards the Caribbean in the near future. So obviously we need to focus on Debbie now, but I'm going to tell you now, that storm is probably going to be another problem that we need to watch out for down in time. Obviously it's still way too early to tell, but you know, it's certainly something we need to watch out for. Let's go ahead and bring you all the radar here real quickly. Here's a quick look at the current radar. This is, you know, live view of the radar. Here's something interesting. We're starting to get our first marine warnings out there by Miami. This is regarding the system. We're starting to finally feel some of the outer bands starting to impact southern Florida right now. Obviously, you can see that central circulation somewhere in here, it looks like. Yeah, Key West radar is picking up the storm center right in here. We're starting to get some radar data now, so that's going to be pretty useful. But you can obviously see that it is spinning counterclockwise, where we are starting to get some better circulation going on here. But yeah, that's current radar data there. Stuart says, "Good morning. How's it going to be for Columbia, South Carolina?" So there is an issue that we're trying to resolve here, or trying to figure out here, for the Carolinas. Obviously, Carolina coast is expecting a lot of rain. As of right now, we're talking 8 to 12 inches throughout the coast of South Carolina. I mean, this literally goes all the way from like Georgia's coast up to Wilmington. Pretty much almost Wilmington there. But yeah, 8 to 12 inches of rain out there is pretty wild. That's like I said, that's the latest. The main concern that I'm worried about, which we'll look at the models again for you here in a minute. But the main thing that I'm really worried about here is, like I said, there's two hypothetical scenarios what could happen for you guys. The storm's expected to make landfall in the Big Bend of Florida. It could go north. It could remain over land. That would be the best case scenario, preventing the storm from really picking up some heat again. And then, of course, there's another scenario which the thing could go back in the water, kind of slow down, pick up some intensity, and maybe hit South Carolina. That has been a common denominator here between the main hurricane models, at least the GFS and the ECMWF here. So Euro and the American GFS have kind of been talking about this, actually. Whoops, that's the wrong one. Wrong screen here. Yeah, let's go and hop over here. There we go. Okay. So, yeah, let me go ahead and zoom into the southeast here so you can see a little closer. So this is the latest GFS. Obviously has the thing making landfall in the Big Bend of Florida for like late Sunday, early Monday. Then, of course, heading out there towards the Carolina coast. And you can actually see, you can actually see how it slows down and then kind of just sits there, picks up a lot of intensity, and then makes landfall over the Carolina-Georgia coast. That's the latest GFS. I thought that was pretty wild coming from the GFS until I saw the Euro and kind of agreement here. So the European model, not as strong of a landfall according to this model here in the Big Bend. But look what happens. Has it going off the coast, picks up some strength here, and then hits South Carolina. That's what I'm concerned about. That would be a really bad scenario. Because not only, would it be picking up strength, but the storm's going to be nearly stationary. It's going to be sitting there, and it's just going to be dumping rain after rain, tons and tons of rain out there. That's what I'm really worried about. That's what I'm really worried about happening. Obviously, that's going to be worst case scenario. But we'll see. I mean, obviously, there's still a lot of room for changes. Obviously, there is still a good likelihood that things will change. Once again, the cone is still very large. I mean, the cone literally goes all the way over here, kind of for obviously roughly these areas here. Obviously, there's still a lot of room. The storm could kind of just continually dig into the southeast, or it could go back out to sea maybe. I mean, like I said, that would be the worst case scenario overall. So, yeah, obviously, if you live in the Carolinas, as well as Georgia's coast, I really want you guys to be preparing for the storm. I want to make sure you guys are ready for it. Obviously, have food and water, non-perishable foods, first aid kit, just your basic items, flashlight, extra batteries, and all that stuff ready. Because, like I said, this could be a rough ride for the people in the Carolinas as well as Georgia's coast. I'm a little worried about it. I ain't going to lie. But we'll keep you updated on that overall. And, like I said, that would be a big flooding problem. Not only just a wind issue for the coasts and a surge issue, but that would also be like mainly a flooding threat for a bunch of rain. So we'll see. Yeah, but that's GFS and Euro. Let's see here. Yeah, this is the latest spaghetti model guidance. We looked at this a little bit ago. Here, we're going to full screen this again. So, yeah, this is the latest spaghetti models. You can kind of see most of the density of models has this thing kind of just off the coast of the Carolina, just off the coast of South Carolina, as well as, like I said, Georgia's coast there. That, most of the models have it kind of going right there near out of sea. I think we're going to see that narrow of the cone come later today. But, from the latest guidance, it really looks like that's kind of a good possibility. So that's what we'll need to see. What do I think we should expect in Gainesville, Florida? So Gainesville, obviously we have actually you guys are not under any watches or anything like that. I do want you guys to watch it. Obviously you could get, some tropical storm force winds out there towards Gainesville. I think is a possibility. Most of the concern is going to be to your west here overall. However, rainfall and stuff, obviously we're expecting a good amount of rain out there. Possibly around 4 to 6 inches of rainfall could be expected. Maybe some locally higher. The more west you go, landfall area is going to be seeing about like 6 to 8 inches of rainfall. So, pretty solid amount. Ashes says Carolina News has not even talked about it. They need to start mentioning it soon. Obviously, like I mentioned here, models are starting to become an agreement here that the storm might, kick off just off the coast of the Carolinas and then slow down and then maybe make landfall in South Carolina. It seems like that's a growing possibility. So that's what I'm worried about, not going to lie. So we'll have to see how that plays out. And right now the Hurricane Center obviously has this thing getting near hurricane force, just 10 mile an hour short. And the late cone, like I said, this thing would likely become a hurricane if this thing went back out into the waters here. Possibly even stronger than it was when it hit Florida. And of course, the best case scenario, once again, will be just continually, the core, the center of the storm, continually being over land. That would be better because it would prevent the storm from strengthening any further. So, we'll see. Let's see, further west and right in the East Coast, not good. No, and that's what some of the models were talking about too, is that the storm could literally just be enough off the coast here to where it's strengthening, but also still close enough to the coast where it just causes a big issue for the coastal areas of the Carolinas. That's also a possibility. That would be, there's 2 out of 3, 3 scenarios, 2 of which are really bad. So that's what I'm concerned about. Like I said, I'm not trying to worry you guys. I just want you guys to be prepared because, like I said, I know based off of what I've been seeing that this could be a real big issue for you guys by the Carolinas. Hopefully, these are helpful information for you guys and all that stuff. And, like I said, obviously we'll keep an eye on it. We'll be monitoring this for the next several days, man. Like I said, we've been talking about it for a long time now. It's getting closer. Obviously, this thing's going to start impacting Florida tonight. Later tonight, as this thing's expected to turn into a tropical storm tonight, and all that stuff. And once again, regarding warnings and stuff, these yellow areas here, these are all tropical storm warnings in effect from the Everglades all the way up towards the eastern Big Bend. And then for the Big Bend, we actually have not only tropical storm warnings, but we also have hurricane watches in effect out here. The latest Hurricane Center guidance here has this thing just shy of a Cat 1. 75 plus is considered Category 1 strength, right at 70, and at this point in time, we're still a good 50 miles off the coast. So we'll have to see. Let's see, is Western Ocala good? Ocala's going to be pretty fine. Yeah, Ocala's actually not under any watches or warnings, believe it or not. Ocala obviously could still get some gusty winds out of the storm. A lot of Florida's going to still feel some gusty winds from the storm. Obviously, the heaviest is going to be out there by the Big Bend of Florida. But, when it comes to it, Ocala, yeah, it's going to be mostly fine. Your main issue is going to be regarding potential rainfall. It does seem like we could have a bit of a problem, seeing maybe 4 to 6 inches of rain out there towards that location. So, let's see. Thank you for these updates, brother. No problem, man. Glad to help out. Like I said, if there's anything specific you guys want me to take a look at, feel free to let me know. It would be much, much appreciated. Like I said, I'm here for you guys, and obviously I want you guys to be weather aware. So, obviously, if I can, I will definitely help out you guys as much as possible. Hopping back over to current radar view, once again, you guys can see the storm. She is just south of Florida right now. She's still over Cuba. But the central circulation looks like it's somewhere right around here, according to the Key West radar here. And of course, like I said, this thing's going to continue moving to the northwest, continue going up to the north here eventually, where it's going to start to strengthen once it gets out into these open waters over here. Once again, it's like a bathtub out there. It's like a hot tub. Waters are like nearly 80, I think they're like 87 to 90 degree Fahrenheit. Very, very hot waters out here, which that's going to contribute to the storm likely rapidly intensifying. Like I said, steering currents are fairly weak. There's little to no wind shear out here, which is going to basically, not really inhibit its development potential. So that's kind of what I'm a little worried about. But yeah, I mean, like I said, you can see though, there's a good amount of open water here. That's what I'm worried about. And honestly, this is my personal opinion. I'm worried that the models ain't really picking up as well as I think this thing is going to be playing out here. I've seen some storms rapidly intensify in conditions similar to this that the models just simply didn't pick up on. For example, I mean, even the last Barrel, the storm Barrel, obviously this has nothing in common, but Barrel wasn't really forecasted to be anything major once it headed into some, more conducive waters. The thing blew up quick. I mean, every update, the storm was gaining so much strength. I think, like I said, since we have limited to no wind shear, as well as very, very warm waters out here, I think that we could have a rapid intensification episode where this thing might even be a lot stronger than we think. That's what I'm worried about. Do I think Orlando will get a tropical storm watch? Probably not, honestly. I mean, Orlando's close to it. Obviously, Orlando's here, but Orlando's far enough inland and away from the storm to where we're not going to really see that. Honestly, see, I'm in Lakeland. I'm here in Polk County. I have a tropical storm watch. We didn't even get warnings. I don't even know if we're going to get tropical storm warnings where I'm at. So, obviously, Orlando being northeast of me, further away from the storm, probably not. I don't think so. But, who knows? It's 2024. That's the best excuse to everything. It's just, it's 2024, guys. Come on. But anyways, I mean, like I said, look at this. Look how big the cone gets towards the end of its life. Or sorry, let me rephrase that. Not the end of its life, but the end of the cone in the forecast. I mean, there's just so much uncertainty what happens once it gets to the Carolinas. But with the latest model guidance that came out, I am surprised how close the American GFS, the American model, and the European ECMWF model are. Like I said, both of those models have this thing kind of doing something like this, slowing down and then turning back in towards South Carolina. Both of them talk about that, which is a little concerning. Do I think Ocala might get a tropical storm watch? Aren't you guys already in one? Oh, you're not? No. It's a fair possibility. It's possible. Yeah, I mean, obviously, depends on where it makes landfall. I mean, if this thing makes landfall over here towards the eastern cone, Ocala's not going to be far from it. I wouldn't be surprised if you got a watch soon. Let's see. What day is it supposed to affect the Carolinas? So it's going to affect the Carolinas here for pretty much Monday and Tuesday, from what it looks like. Let me go and bring you all back over to the models here. Let's go and take a look at those. But yeah, it looks like Monday and Tuesday will be those impacts. Times in the top right, you guys, if y'all want to follow along with that. GFS, you can see once again making landfall out there by the Big Bend of Florida, going inland and then going back out into the water here, just off the Atlantic coast. And then you can just see it just sits there. So this is going from August 5th to August 6th into August 7th, and you can just see it's literally just sitting there. Y'all see that? GFS, the American model, has it just sitting there, picking up a lot of strength and then going back inland towards Georgia and South Carolina's coast before weakening and then just kind of getting drawn up by the current. And then, of course, ignore that, but that's another storm we're watching. That's still too far in time to know if it's going to do a track like this. This one doesn't like Houston for some reason. But like I said, this is nearly 300 hours out, so that's not going to happen. At least as of right now, it's not forecasted to happen. But anyways, yeah, so that's that. And then that's what I'm really concerned about, because also not only would it be sitting there and just picking up strength, but it's also going to be sitting there and just dumping rain, a lot of rain regardless. It's going to be dumping several inches and possibly even a couple feet in some areas if it did a scenario like that. That would be very catastrophic. And like I said, what really worries me, I thought that was just GFS being GFS. Like I said, that is just, you can see here, that's just, the Euro shows it too. I mean, it's like, what the heck, dude? I thought that was just the American GFS doing its own thing. But no, both the Euro and GFS agree on that. So that seems like a more probable option, I thought it was pretty funny the first time I saw GFS, like, okay, buddy. And then, of course, I see the other model, one of the arguably the most accurate model out there, say the same thing. It's like, oh, great. Let's see here. Will Florida need to watch the next system possibly? I mean, obviously it can't be ruled out. There's no reason to worry about it right now. Obviously, it doesn't even have an investigation, it doesn't even have a disturbance number from the Hurricane Center yet. We'll probably get that soon, I think. Definitely there is some activity regarding it. But yeah, Florida, yeah, no reason to watch out for it right now. Honestly, I'll keep you updated, of course, if it does something where it becomes a problem for the for the Gulf Coast and the U.S. in general. I'll let you know. But for now, we're focused on future Debbie. Zen says, technically speaking, you're in Winter Haven because a guy did a map of Polk County did it wrong. What? How? I moved, by the way. I used to live in Auburndale. Actually, I moved, which, obviously, yeah. So I'm actually here in Lakeland now, which is West Polk County. Not too far from Tampa, actually. And probably about 30 minutes away from Tampa. Anyways. How about Claremont, Florida for rainfall and wind? Let me look up Claremont. I'm not entirely sure where Claremont's at. But I got you, my friend. Here, let me pull this up here. Here, we'll go and hop y'all back over here, too. Claremont, Florida. Okay, yeah, you're inland. You're actually just north of me. So, yeah, obviously you are inland enough to where the winds isn't going to be that much of a problem. I mean, you could see some gusts maybe up to 30 miles an hour or so. It's not going to be anything spectacular. Obviously, it's not going to be that bad for you. Rain-wise, though, still a good amount of rain. I think the Hurricane Center has you at, or the Weather Prediction Center here, has you pulling up to be right around 2 to 4, I believe. Yeah, 2 to 4 inches of rainfall for you. Not a whole lot. I mean, sorry, not the most in the storm, but still a decent amount overall. Let's see here. I'm not sure where that's at. I see you. I'm not too sure where Brevard County is. See, I'm in Winter Haven. Gotcha's in. Yeah, you're not too far from me. Yeah, you're actually a little further east of me. Yeah, for us, like I said, here in Polk County, we're gonna see maybe some winds up to 35 mile per hour wind gusts, and then some decent rain, but that's about it. Not gonna be anything spectacular for us. So I'm as much as I want a good storm, I'm happy for it. I don't want it to cause, because we actually have trees outside that have dead branches, and I was worried about it. Believe it or not, I know I'm getting off topic here, but the other day, my mom's car was parked under the tree that's out front, and one of the branches fell and hit her car. Let me show you guys the photos here. It was pretty brutal. Pretty brutal. Here you go. Yeah, so that's my mom's car. Tree branch fell and hit it. So obviously, it's better for us, so we can take care of that tree and get some of those branches trimmed. Because that's what I'm worried about. I'm worried about one of those branches falling, not only hitting the cars, but also, also hitting our house too. That would be problematic. Anyways, I'm driving on I-75 from Georgia to Tampa around noon tomorrow. What do I think the winds will be strong? Or do I think the winds will be strong around that time? So, around noon tomorrow, that's going to be where the heaviest effects are going to be near Tampa. You can see 2 p.m. here tomorrow. The storm's just going to be off the coast of Tampa, which is probably when the strongest activity is going to be for Tampa. It's going to be right around noon tomorrow, late morning, early noon. So, yeah, you're going to be driving into the heaviest conditions for the area, I should say. Let's see here. Space Coast. Oh, yeah. So you guys out in the East Coast, just in general, Space Coast area. Yeah, the most that we're going to see out here is, like I said, just a little bit. The worst that you guys are going to see there is just a little bit of rainfall overall. According to the map here, about 2 to 4 inches possible. Locally higher amounts possible, of course. It just depends on how many storms you get from those outer bands. But, yeah, like I said, nothing crazy wind-related anyways. Hopefully that helps, though. But anyways, guys, well, like I said, that's kind of where we stand here. If there's any questions y'all might have, feel free to let me know. Overall, I'm gonna try to push out a video for you guys too, just so people can watch it. Just on their own time, because not everybody can make it to the live stream. So I'm gonna work on a video this morning too. I'm gonna do my morning routine, and then I'm gonna get into working on a video for you guys today. So we'll get a quick weather update video. So expect that to come out on the channel. If you haven't already, I don't want to be that classic YouTuber to force people to subscribe, but consider it. That way you guys can stay at least prepared with the weather here. We'll keep everything truthful. We'll keep everything up to date. We'll throw all the information out like we do. We'll keep y'all updated. So if you guys could, be much appreciated. Once again, thank you for being here, guys. But Eric, y'all. So any final questions you guys might have before I roll off here? Feel free to let me know. Like I said, we're here for you. We're here for you. I want you guys to be prepared. Black Label says great updates, Andrew. Or sorry, great updates. Thanks. Sorry, my brain's just not working this morning. You're welcome, man. I'm glad to help out. Glad to help out. But anyways, y'all. But like I said, yeah, landfall is expected here for late Sunday, early Monday, up there towards the Big Bend of Florida. That's the latest. Hurricane watch is in effect. Tropical storm warnings along the whole west coast of Florida. There's a problem. Two different scenarios. One, like I said, it seems like the worst case scenario looks more likely now. As the storm goes back into the water here, just off the coast of the U.S. Southeast, could pick up some strength, stall, and then hit the Carolinas. Or, better scenario, which I hope it does, it goes up and just remains inland, where it does not strengthen and doesn't become a problem, really. Oh, any more of a problem. Anyways, solar storms, CME impacts, rise concerns. Solar weather has little to no impact on weather directly. This would not impact the storm in any way, I don't think, regarding this storm here. But yeah, solar weather, space weather doesn't really have, that many impacts on most of the weather here, because a lot of the magnetic field takes care of all the solar activity. Those are upper phenomenon, actually outside of the atmosphere. Yeah, little to no impacts at all. Alrighty, guys. Well, that's going to go ahead and wrap it up. That's an hour update for y'all this morning. We're going to do another update live stream probably this afternoon and another one this evening, so we have a lot of updates coming your way. Once again, I'm going to work on a video later this morning here for you guys. We'll get that up for you guys and some more information out there. But if you guys did enjoy it, consider leaving a like, hitting that subscribe button if you're new. Consider sharing this. That's about the most important thing you guys can do. Is maybe share this to your friends, family, anybody you really can. It'll be much appreciated. But alrighty, guys. Once again, thanks for joining. We'll catch y'all in the next one. Y'all take care, and we'll see you later on. See you later, guys.